FLATLINERS is a 1990 horror science fiction film directed by Joel Schumacher and starring Kiefer Sutherland, Kevin Bacon, and Julia Roberts, as 5 medical students experiment with near-death experiences until the dark consequences of past tragedies begin to jeopardize their lives. Arrow Video presents this film with a native 4K restoration with Dolby Vision and HDR10. Hey, what is up everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment, and I am here today to review and talk about the latest 4K release from Arrow Video, FLATLINERS. So I've had this one for a few weeks, but just getting around to talking about it with you guys here today. I just had a lot of stuff going on. The Chucky 4Ks came in, Tenebrae, The Witch, but yeah, I'm finally here to talk about FLATLINERS on 4K. But before we get into it, we're going to talk about the movie, the transfer, sound options, special features, packaging. I'm going to do a little unboxing as well. Before we get into talking about all that, I need you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We talk about physical media, Blu-rays, 4Ks, all that kind of stuff all the time, every single day on this channel. You will definitely enjoy it. So hit the subscribe button. Also be sure to like this video and comment down below. What do you think about the movie FLATLINERS? Did you purchase this Arrow Video version? What are your thoughts? Are you going to purchase it? Let me know all that in the comment section below. I will also be leaving a link for purchase down below in the description. So let's get into talking about this movie first. So I had never seen this movie before. This was a first time watch. I know it had a remake back in 2017. I didn't see that one either, but from what I remember, didn't it get like a 0 or a 1% on Rotten Tomatoes or something ridiculous? So I steered clear of that one. But yeah, haven't seen this movie before. Great cast in this film though. That's the thing that stood out to me the most when I looked at it. Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, before Julia Roberts was like really famous. Like this was before, this predates Pretty Woman. You got Kevin Bacon. Who doesn't love bacon in their movies? We all do. And yeah, so I was definitely interested in checking out this film, but for whatever reason, I just never seen it. And this was kind of, you know, at the beginning of the 90s, 1990, so it still feels very 80s. It's Joel Schumacher. Of course, you know, he definitely has a certain like flair and style to his directing. Obviously, The Lost Boys, I have not seen that one in its entirety yet. I'm looking forward to the 4K of that one coming out. But then I just think of, you know, the movies I watched as a kid, of course, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. We all know him from that. You can kind of see the origins of his filmmaking style in those movies. In this one, I'm just thinking of like the architecture of this film, the statues, and just like the kind of gothic nature of it. It feels like at times I could just see more like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin in this movie than I can some of his other films. So that I feel like that Joel Schumacher of the 90s was really starting to develop here. And again, he could have had that in The Lost Boys as well. You don't see that though when you watch like films like Falling Down or Phone Booth. I really enjoy Joel Schumacher as a director. I just think he has a unique style and sensibility about him. But I don't know, getting into my thoughts on the film, I thought the movie was okay. I was hoping I would like it a little bit more than I ended up liking it. The premise is cool, but it felt like it took a little too long for things to kick into gear as far as the story is concerned. So I think that the first hour, and I'm going to be honest, the first hour is extremely dull. And I don't want to give away like certain plot points and things that happen. People always critique me on my spoilers or stuff, so I'm going to try to keep it very vague, but there's just I don't know, the first hour, I feel like they could have like, you know, got things going a lot quicker. They could have got through certain things a lot quicker and then really got into what would be the meat of the story in the second half. I think that the second half is a lot better structured as far as like, you know, story and character development. You really get into the characters and you really get into and buy into their relationships with each other. It just takes a long time to get there. I just feel like they should have moved, they should have better pacing in that first half. The movie's 2 hours long, and to be honest, it shouldn't have been that long. It should have been like 90 minutes to 95 minutes at the most, but it's like an hour and 54 minutes. So I think they could have definitely shortened that a little bit and just improved the pace of the movie, because that first hour just really drug it down for me. Second hour definitely made up for it. Like I said, they really did a lot of character work in the second hour, just really like fleshing out the backstories and just what made all of these characters the people that they were. And it just really started to, you know, give us an actual plot, I guess, in that second half. Like there's a premise in the first half. There's things that happen, but just nothing moves. Nothing feels like it's moving forward. It's just a bunch of interactions and things that happen. So I definitely feel that the second half made up for what the first half was lacking. The cast in this movie, like I said, is absolutely killer. Like, not only do you have Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, Kevin Bacon, you got Billy Baldwin, William Baldwin in this movie. You got Oliver Platt. Like, the cast is really excellent in this film. And I do think that by the time you get to the end and by the time they develop all these characters, like, I really do enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the chemistry that all of these characters have with each other throughout the film. But again, it just takes way too long to get there. So, you know, so many huge names, everybody's great. They just didn't have much to work with in terms of the plot for that first half. But again, they do a lot of good stuff in the second half. So overall, as a movie itself, I got to give it a 3 out of 5. Like, I thought it was okay. I did enjoy it. I just didn't think it had a lot more potential, I feel like, with the story and the setup and the premise and the things that they were trying to do with it in the second half. Like, the first half, it just feels like a bunch of things that they're throwing at you. You don't really understand the motivations and why they're doing what they're doing. I can understand like setup and payoff, but it just feels like there was way too much setup and just too much fluff that wasn't needed in that first half, and it really drug down the movie for me. And getting into this transfer, just giving you some of the details of the transfer. So this was restored in 4K by Sony Pictures. So Columbia released this film back in 1990. So this is a Sony property, and they did the restoration work on this, and then Arrow Video put it out. So this was restored in 4K by Sony from the original 35mm camera negative. The HDR color grading and conform was done by colorist Sherry Eisenberg and approved by the movie cinematographer Jane D. Bont. And I'm probably butchering that name, but I know John D. Bont, is that how you pronounce it? He directed Speed and Twister, which are two of my all-time favorite movies. So really cool that he was the director of photography, cinematographer on this film. But yeah, he assisted in the color grading, but the main work was done by Sherry Eisenberg. I thought that this, honestly, was a beautiful transfer, maybe one of the best of the year from Arrow Video. Can't say enough good things about it. The visuals were very clean and crisp, and it just had some great facial detail. Like, you almost forgot while you're watching the movie that you're watching an older film, and you just kind of sit there and you're like wondering why, oh, this is a modern movie. Like, this was just filmed yesterday, and why does Kevin Bacon and Julia Roberts look so young? Like, Julia Roberts looks excellent in this movie. Maybe the best she's ever looked in her entire career. Just beautiful in this film. And Kevin Bacon, of course, is always beautiful. But again, they look so young, and it's like, it just looks so good. It feels like a modern movie at times. I'm like, damn, how did they get this to look this freaking good? But I thought it looked amazing. The colors and the visuals and the set design, like I said, you have that kind of gothic. It's set at like a campus in Chicago, a college campus. But the design, the set design, I don't know, it's very, the architecture's like very gothic. There's like statues and stuff. The whole room that they're set up in just feels like they're in some kind of gothic cathedral. I don't know, it's very weird, the setting. Maybe they do have colleges like that in Chicago. I don't really visit Chicago frequently, but it felt like they were almost like in a different country, but they were supposed to be in Chicago in this campus. So just the visuals, like I said, it looks like it's just very gothic. All the statues, which kind of reminded me of like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, just that visual set design in that movie. So really great set design. I think it all pops. Just the colors, really make this transfer pop. Again, the HDR is firing on all cylinders. The black levels are excellent. It opens on this scene where Kiefer Sutherland kind of standing on this ledge, and it's like it's either the sunrise or the sunset, but just the way that the sun kind of reflects off of his skin, it just looks amazing in 4K. So there's lots of like scenes bathed in orange, lots of blues, and some of these like dreamlike sequences. There's a scene, and again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, that's kind of bathed in red, and it's in Julia Roberts' flashback. It's all in red, and it looks breathtaking. She like walks into a room and just seeing the red kind of reflect off of her face and just the walls and just the entire room and just the aesthetic of that scene. Thought it looked fantastic, and there's tons of those types of imagery throughout this film. So I can't say enough good things about this transfer. I think it's one of the strongest that Arrow's put out this year. Again, it was restored by Sony Pictures, but just a really strong 4K transfer by Arrow Video. Now, getting into the audio on this release, you do have a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and 2.0 surround soundtrack. So again, I'm just listening to this stuff on a soundbar. I don't have that full audio setup, but everything sounded amazing to me. I love the score in this one. Really strong score and soundtrack to this film as well. You have optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. And you do get a brand new, we'll get into the special features a little bit here, you get a brand new audio commentary by critics Brian Reisman and Max Every. So yeah, really cool. You get a brand new audio commentary that's never been released before. I'm not sure when the first Blu-ray release of Flatliners came out, but again, that was a Sony release, so I imagine it was probably bare bones when it came to special features and commentaries and stuff like that. But you also get The Conquest of Our Generation, a brand new video interview with screenwriter Peter Filardi, and I'm probably butchering that name, but that's a really awesome interview that he gives. And he also wrote The Craft too, which I found to be pretty interesting because I can kind of see just thematically, like the different, just how those two like scripts connect, and just kind of going through his mindset as a writer. And those are the two main things that he did. He didn't do a whole lot more after that. So that was a really good interview with him. You also get Hereafter, a brand new video interview with the first assistant director, John Kretschmer. That's a really good interview as well. Obviously, we can't get any interviews with Joel Schumacher. That would have been incredible because he passed away a few years ago. But Visions of Light, a brand new video interview with director of photography Jane DeBont and chief lighting technician Edward Ayer. Hereafter, a brand new video interview with the first assistant director John Kretschmer. Restoration, a brand new video interview with production designer Eggio Zanetti and art director Larry Lundy. We also get Atonement, a brand new video interview with composer James Newton Howard. So that was the composer of the movie. Again, James Newton Howard is a legend in composing, so it makes perfect sense why it was so great, the score. And orchestrator Chris Boardman. So you get six new special feature interviews in this. It is a shame, and it does suck. You get no actor interviews in this. You get nothing. It would have been so cool if they had Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon came back for Tremors, so I don't know why they couldn't get him for this one, but Julia Roberts would have been amazing if they could have got her to do an interview for this, even if it was like a Zoom call or something. Oliver Platt, you got Kiefer Sutherland, like anybody, nobody actor-wise came back to do an interview here, which definitely sucks because it's always interesting to get the actor's perspective on the filmmaking process. Those are probably some of my favorite special features for some of the releases. So you also get Dressing for Character, a brand new interview with costume designer Susan Becker. So is that, no, that is the sixth interview. So you do get 6 special feature interviews, which is really cool. Theatrical trailer, image gallery, reversible sleeve. So I'm going to get into the packaging here a little bit. Really cool packaging by Arrow Video. Again, it's not that big like digipack release that we're used to with like Wild Things. I don't know why they didn't do that for this. I don't know why they thought this wasn't, big package worthy, but it definitely would have been cool to get one of those with the booklet and all that stuff. But this is a really nice slipcover. Almost feels velvety, just a really cool one with these kind of like metallic shines and stuff. It's not, I think it's debossed with Flatliners right there, just the text of that as I'm feeling it. But really nice texture to this slipcover, and then you raise it up and you got the disc art, you got the reversible sleeve, and of course I'm going to be showing you all the special feature contents and the synopsis and all that stuff. But yeah, reversible cover art. You do only get the 4K in this set. Now there is a separate Blu-ray that is a 4K scan that Arrow Video is releasing, but you only get the Blu-ray in that release and you only get the 4K in this one. So they do not double up on disc here and give you the Blu-ray and the 4K. I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So yeah, it would have been cool though if they would have done the big digipack release. I think that they should have, especially since they are charging $35 for this release, which I've seen a lot of people complain about and say, I'm not going to get it because it's just a slipcover. Like, it's not the big box set release. They've released Wild Things, RoboCop, American Werewolf in London for like $32, $33. And now they want you to pay $35 for Flatliners with just a slipcover. So I completely get it. You do get a cool little booklet in here with a lot of information and stuff like that, but I completely get it. So at the end of the day, it's kind of very difficult for me to completely recommend this release because it is kind of expensive. I would say wait for it to go down in price a little bit. I thought the movie itself was just okay. I thought it had some great special features for sure, about 2 hours of new interviews and stuff, and then you get that new audio commentary. So special features, top notch. Transfer is top notch. Audio from my perspective, which, you know, I only listened to it on soundbar, but audio from my perspective was top notch. So everything is top notch about this release, I would say, except for the packaging. They probably should have done that big box set. And the movie itself, again, I'm just not a huge fan of it. But if you are, if this is one of your favorites from the past, you know, you definitely might want to pick this up. So at the end of the day, guys, that's my thoughts. I am kind of leaning on the side of yes, pick this one up, but only if you're a fan of the movie. But appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.